Hey everybody, this is Rob. I am sometimes with National Fire Radio, but today this is actually a little bit of a different spin on things. I'm here as the captain of the Fairview Fire District with our new Rosenbauer ladder truck here, and I'm pretty excited to tell you guys about it. So we'll start right here on the front bumper. Our department is a little weird, and I think one of the things that's sometimes lacking is we don't understand the department who's building the truck. So Fairview, we run a little bit of a short staffing model, unfortunately. So the ladder has to have a pump and a tank on it for ISO, but also we have a huge area that's non-hydrated. So this is our booster backup. So on the front bumper, one of the cool things with Rosenbauer is you can go out in those 1-inch increments to build your bumper. Like if we wanted to have it all the way out here, we could have, but this is the bumper that we went with. We went with a deep well for supply line and a tack line, and then making sure that we had a 2.5-inch outlet on the front, because with that booster backup, that engine will pull past, this truck will get the house, but if we need to steal the 500 gallons just to get us that little bit of edge before that next company gets there to lay a line, that's exactly why we did that. So just a good feature on the front. Commander cab, we had to make this work for our low manpower. Typically in Fairview, where I'm from, we're running 4 on the engine, 2 on the truck. So we wanted to make things easy for this guy to get up in and out of the ladder truck to go to work, because the reality is they're probably not going to operate the ladder unless there's an immediate danger to somebody who's hanging out a window and we need to use the aerial device right off the bat. So the cab, everything was meant so that the driver and both the other rider could kind of have dual operations of the lights, and that's one of the things with the little screen and everything. This was great for us. We get on scene, this guy's going to come out, they're going to dress out, right? So they come to the rear door and open up. We put a pack mount tool system on the back wall here, and one of the goals was to get an air pack lower so that person didn't have to reach up into the cab and have that awkward twist or bend. The other thing that we did at the factory was we extended this handle here, because as you see, the outriggers are out currently. If they had to get up into the cab for a tool or something that was left in, or second alarm people show up, because our callback, once we have a fire, we're initiating callback, they got to come into this truck and get something. They're not reaching up like you see on that handle right there. They've got a good grab here to get themselves up and into the cab. So just a good feature, like one of the layouts that we did. And then the other thing, because typically it doesn't have a full complement of people, right? We have 6 seats in it. It's not typically running out the door with 6. It'll have 2, and then we have a combination department, so sometimes we'll have some volunteer staffing. We went with fold-up seats to give us more access in the back, so it didn't feel like we were knocking knees with each other, and just a little bit more comfort until we're all in the cab. So pump panel, right? I know real ladder trucks don't have a pump and a tank, and for all you diehard folks out there that are saying it's not, I get it. You don't work where I work, and I don't work where you work. So we need to have the pump on the truck, we need to have the tank. One of the big things that we see when we were in this process is different manufacturers had different tanks, different pump configurations, and the handles were everywhere. Like you had to reach up here for tank to pump, and this one was over here, and then the discharge was up. So we kind of tried to make this as simplistic for the members as we could, and Rosenbauer delivered. We actually had a good pre-con meeting, and that's where we came up with this. Pre-construction, by the way, if you are doing an apparatus, get out to the factory and do pre-construction there, because somebody else figured this out. It wasn't Fairview, it was us walking the factory floor and literally seeing this kind of layout and being like, hey, can we do this? And them saying, yes, we can. A couple of different things for this that we put into the pump panel to make sense. FRC controller, pump boss, always a win. Tip controls for the intercom right here with the speaker, and then nozzle controls, because with our low manpower situation, if we didn't do a good job in that first 5 minutes, and now we're going to make it a 5-hour incident, we can control the tip from here, and we also have the remote. The Fairview Fire District needed to get a truck that we could put up in the air on some pretty decent grades. I don't know how people decided to build on these hills, but they did. So one of the things that Rosenbauer was able to do, and this is when it comes to you building a truck, I don't care if it's Rosenbauer or any other apparatus manufacturer, when they bring the demos around, you got to take it out of the parking lot. You got to take it to the places that are going to be hard. We did this with the demo truck that we had from Rosenbauer, which is very similar. All right, and we noticed that the outrigger was built in front of the pump module up close to the cab. That gave us the footprint and the stability to get on grade on some of the steeper grades and get this truck set up. And that's something that we just couldn't do with our previous truck. It had underslung jacks and If you were at, I think, like more than 3 or 6% or something like that, don't quote me exactly. Somebody in the internet will correct me, but the truck wouldn't go. It wasn't gonna work. You weren't gonna be in those green zones to put the ladder up. You were gonna be definitely in the red. So good thing about Rosenbauer, and then obviously the smart jacking system is a huge win for us. If we go into the city of Poughkeepsie or in our what we call Old Fairview and it's tight, we can take this jack out as much as we can get it, drop it down, and that smart aerial system is going to allow us to operate on the short jack side and not get us into trouble. One of the features that we have with the ladder that like Rosenbauer didn't provide, we just bought it, was a rangefinder, because as you learn this smart aerial system, you want to have a rangefinder with you to give you a quick shot, because if you are really in that tight spot, because you can pretty much take this jack out like an inch and drop it down and be able to operate on that short jack side, your reach will be limited and the system will not let you get into trouble. But it's something that we did because we needed to make sure we could set up in those tight areas, because the fire was going to happen there regardless. So, okay, so ladder truck committee forms. We're going to replace a ladder that we have. The ladder was previously a demo unit, so the ladder tunnel was not built in the best capacity. We have currently carrying around 3-section 24, a 3-section 35, and then a 12-foot and a 14-foot roof, because of how this truck that was built in 2000, not Rosenbauer, another manufacturer, right? But it had a very short ladder tunnel. We were thankfully able to fix all of that. We have a great ladder system back here. We've got a 24, a 28, an 18-foot roof, a 20-foot roof, another 28, and a 35, all 2-section, so with the exception of the straight roofs, and that's great. I loved the wide open ladder tunnel that this truck was able to do, especially with the torque box. Now, on the back of this, we've talked about it before, the ladder is a quint. It has a 500-gallon tank, it's got a 1,500 gallon per minute pump, but you're gonna notice there's something here. This is outrigger controls here, all right? There's no chute back here for a hose bed. We opted to delete the hose bed, and I'm gonna show you why. Over on this side, this is traditionally where the hose bed would ride on the apparatus, but we gained compartment space. And that's what we didn't have on the last truck that this is replacing, is compartment space, because of the hose bed, because of the tank and how that tank was laid out. It was just not good for us. So we gained all this compartment space by deleting that hose bed and not having it. Currently, what we're seeing at work is a ladder truck that we have all the tools spread out because we can't form over function, put them in line with each other. Here, this is going to provide us one side of the truck can focus on fire and truck work operations. The other side, we can maybe bump up some rescue tools and just do other things, but we won't have to have that 10 pounds of you-know-what in a 5-pound bag, because we were able to delete that hose bed. And that's something for Rosenbauer that they were able to provide. We went through all the manufacturers and it was exhaustive. It was a lot of work. But one of the things that we found was once we started talking about deleting a hose bed off of a quint, people got really janky about it. They were like, I don't know if we can do it. And Rosenbauer did it. Now I will say a caveat to that. Anytime you're doing an apparatus spec and stuff like that, and you're gonna start asking them to change things, stick to the blueprint as much as you can. I'm not saying that they shouldn't be a custom fire truck for you, because it should be. It's a custom fire apparatus, but don't over-engineer things, because there's a lot of people who make that mistake. They get over-the-road truck drivers, people with CDLs who drive a lot, and they're like, oh, you need this suspension, everything else, and then the truck might not ride as well, or you may just do something that they were like, yeah, we can do it, but should we do it? But the customer wants it, so it's in a really delicate situation. All right, pack tool mount, boards in the back, pack tool mount, awesome product out of upstate New York, so we were very happy to have that, because we're kind of supporting two things there, something that's made in the United States and made in New York. Shorter one over here, SCBA cylinder storage, and a larger cylinder for water cans and fire extinguishers. We made this mistake on other apparatus where we were like, hey, it's got to be this big. We measured out our water cans with the whoever makes the strap and the wheel chocks to make sure that it actually fits into the tube, because oftentimes it's like precision and it doesn't work. If you know, you know. The ladder. We wanted to have a steel ladder. It was important for us because we noticed that in the demonstrations, the aluminum ladders, we had a product that was aluminum, and they were great products, but the steel seemed to go so much faster. And if somebody's hanging out of a window and we want to get there, the last thing we want to be doing is like humming. We'll be coming around the mountain when we come, as that ladder is slowly creeping towards them. This ladder is fast, and we really, really, really like that. So steel ladder, hot dip galvanized, that's something that Garrison Fire Rescue, who was our dealer, ensured that everything was done. There was a couple features that Blake worked into the truck that we are very happy about. Hot dip galvanized the frame rails, hot dip galvanized the components on the outriggers, and hot dip galvanized the aerial. You'll notice that the aerial, the base section is painted to job color, and then the next 3 sections are all hot dip galvanized with just a yellow tip on the ladder that if we smash it into something, trees or whatever else, it can just kind of bolt on, bolt off, and get replaced. But we really wanted to have that strong ladder, and we wanted to make sure that we had the corrosion protection, because we've seen different people out there spin their metal a little bit differently and it rusts out from the inside out. We know we're not going to have that problem with this product. And like I said, I talked about that pre-construction meeting. You go out in that pre-construction meeting, you get to see the process, so you know exactly what they're talking about. I cannot stress enough to people to take part in that pre-construction meeting at the factory, invest in the money to get that done. The remote, I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought it was hokey and I thought it was a gimmick. So once again, I'm talking about going out and dealing with the products and seeing them. We went out to the factory, we got to use the remote and see it in operation. We also got to go out to a couple customers in our local Hudson Valley area and talk to them about the remote. The weird thing for us, I don't know if it's weird is the way to put it, but we learned a lot from volunteer fire companies around us. We're a combination department. We've got it's predominantly career staffing supplemented by a handful of volunteers, and we're thankful for them. But the volunteers that we're talking to about who were using Rosenbauer products really hit on, because they're both dealing with the same thing, low manpower. So for us to be able to have this, they were they sold it to us, and then we started talking about jobs that they went to and how they grabbed this out of the compartment, you know, powered it on and had it operating, and we're setting outriggers out as they're walking around the truck, throwing plates down, and then being able to do other things. And now, one of the things that will happen with this is Garrison is going to be doing a mount on the side of the pump panel, so we will also have this available on the pump panel. So if like we have those controls there as well, but we can just simply take this out, have it available next to the pump panel, and then if we've got that operator's got to wander away for a second, he has the controller and he can operate the aerial device if he has to. So it's like I said, it's a huge win for us. We're excited about it, and everybody that we've spoken to can't speak enough about how good this thing is. Hey everybody, thank you for taking the time to walk around the truck. I think we all learned a little bit today. Some of you have learned about the operations of Fairview Fire District through the apparatus and what we've built. I want to thank everybody from Rosenbauer and Garrison Fire Apparatus for taking part in the build. It was a long process, but it was worth it. I cannot wait for this to be delivered. It's coming from the show to New York, and then we're gonna have a couple weeks of training, which is another key component we didn't really talk about, but Rosenbauer is sending out some aerial specialists and some really knowledgeable people to make sure that the membership can use this truck to its full limitations. And we want to push it right to the limit, because if there's a life on the line, that's exactly what we want to deliver with. So this is the apparatus. We thank you guys for joining us, and thank you for the fun time.